In this video I'm going to show you how to catch catfish with boilies and pellets. This isn't one for the purist, for your specialist catfish angler. They have other techniques, but this is perfect for any carp angler that would like to catch catfish. Beausoleil is a mixed fishery. We've got big catfish and we've got big carp. I've been guiding guests here for the last 10 years and I'm going to show you all the tips and techniques that we use to specifically target catfish over the carp. It's all about the baiting approach and using a simple, strong rig. So the rig that we're going to be using to target these catfish is just a simple double bottom bait hair rig mounted on a basic running ledger. It's really simple, but it's really robust. The lead's just going to run through like that. And you might just say, well, that just looks like a carp rig. Well, basically, it's just a heavy duty carp rig. But time and time again, I've seen rigs like this outfish the more classic catfish methods. What's going to turn this heavy duty carp rig into a catfish rig is how we fish it. It's all about the baiting approach. If you're on a tight budget, the best way to target catfish is with loads of pellets and just a few boilies. In the bucket here, I've got some nice 41% protein, high quality. Catfish absolutely love these. They're a low oil, high protein. A large bulk sack of these is a lot cheaper than the same quantity of boilies, so it's a popular choice here. As an absolute minimum, you could just use some of these pellets over that rig and it would work. So these are 15mm pellets. They've got a breakdown time of 6-7 hours, something like that, even during warm weather. So a great choice for creating a nice, attractive pile of bait. 3 scoops for me is enough for one rod for one bite. So the perfect way of fishing that for the big cats is just that rig over the pellets on a nice tight spot. If you've got access to a boat, then getting that bait in a nice tight spot is really easy, but if you haven't, you can fish a nice tight trap like that in the margins. If you want to target a spot a little further out from the margin, then what you can do, if you've got a baiting spoon, just unscrew your baiting spoon, grab a spare landing net handle, choose your spot, and then you can use this to create a very accurate, tight pile of bait. The reason why this works so well is a small, tight, highly attractive pile of bait like that is just very attractive to catfish. They just absolutely love it. And they'll come in and they'll have that. That's a bite-sized snack for some of our cats. And what we find is that at a mixed venue, the catfish are likely to come across that before the carp do. If you're catfishing at range and you've got access to a rowing boat, then something like this is perfect. For margins and you've got a bait spoon, then that works great as well. If you don't have access to a boat, but you want to target catfish a little bit further out, a catapult is a great choice for up to 30 or 40 yard range, especially with decent sized pellets. I've just popped my marker float here up on a gravel bar at about 30 yards range, and it's pretty easy to create a nice tight spread of baits right over that marker. It's probably turning out to be a kind of bivvy sized spot. To create a decent bed of bait, it's going to take you a little bit of time with a catapult, but it's absolutely worth the effort. And the sound of those pellets going in the water will attract those catfish. They're quite sensitive to sound, and food hitting the water, they love to hear that. Using a marker float in combination with a catapult not only helps you maintain accuracy, but it can also give you an indication as to whether the cats have started to find your bait yet. If you actually see the marker float start to twitch and move, it's a very positive sign, and it could be that while baiting up, the cats have already found you. My preference would be to always target catfish at as short a range as possible. But if that's not possible, then we'd have to turn to spodding or spomming. Now, if I'm going to do this technique, then I tend to kind of stick to a basic pellet mix, just pellets only and then boilies only, you're not going to ever be as accurate as you are at short range with a catapult. But if you're good at spodding and you have to target catfish at longer range for whatever reason, then yes, you can spod for them. But stick to high quality pellets and definitely add some boilies over the top. What I'm going to do now is show you how to create a really powerful, intense pile of bait that is going to kick off scent and carry it a long way in the water. This is a really fantastic addition to this mix. It's the Scopex flake. It's going to absorb some extra liquid that we're going to put in there, and it's going to create a very powerful food signal that's going to last for a long time. Then we're going to add some liquid spod syrup. Don't need loads of this, just a nice little drizzle. And then before I mix that up, I'm going to knock it back with a little bit of lake water. I just get the lake water in there like that. Probably enough. You're not looking to drown it, you're just trying to give it a bit of lube so that we can create a nice mix there. Any high quality fish meal boilie will work for this mix, but if you can add some chopped boilie or some flake boilie to it and get some liquid flavour in there as well, then that's great. Use what you've got, but use the best. I always like to leave this mix to sit a little while before using it. Half an hour, something like that is ideal. It just gives the time for that liquid attractor and for the lake water to seep in, for that flavour to go into the pellets and the boilies, and it just works nice. So that's how I make my cat traps, and for me that is enough bait for one rod, for one cat, for one try. To set one of these cat traps in open water, I would always use a rowing boat, and I row out to the spot. I use my prodding stick to explore the area. If the ground's soft enough, I will punch the prodding stick into the ground, empty the cat trap first, and then I row back a little, swing the rig out and lower it carefully down onto the spot. That's the kind of ideal scenario. It enables me to present a very tight bed of bait with the rig on top, and it's a very effective technique. If the ground is very hard, then getting a prodding pole into the lake bed is difficult, if not impossible. In those situations, I would use the prodding pole just to explore, to understand exactly where I want to drop it. And then here's a little trick. What you can do is you can take some pop-ups and chop them or crush them and just put them into the mix, and when you empty that mix over the side, the pop-ups will either stay on the surface or bob back up to the top, and it gives you a visual marker of exactly where that spot is. That helps you when you row away to enable you to lower that rig right on top of that baited spot, and it takes the guesswork out of it. As an addition to any of the baiting strategies that I've shown, you can also add into the mix a PVA crumb stick. Could be a pellet crumb stick or whatever you've got, but if you can do it, if you've got the juice to dip it into, then dip it into some spod syrup or some liquid or something, just to give it that extra boost. I quite like to do this over a grubbing mix, just so that I'm absolutely guaranteed of having loads of attraction right on that rig. Obviously, if you're fishing over spotted pellets or fishing over catapulted pellets, then that crumb stick with the juice in there will add plenty of attraction right over the rig. I do prefer a PVA crumb stick when dipping into liquids, because that crumb just absorbs all of that juice. If you just make a mesh bag of pellet and dip that, you'll find that a lot of that juice leaks off, whereas if you've got some crumb in there or some flake, you will absorb all of that goodness in there and get it where you need it, right over your rig. If you'd like to learn how to tie my super simple but very robust catfish rig, click on this video.